Hello, this is the development log for 18, I guess it's called, or maybe something else because I haven't actually done the final builds yet. If you didn't watch the intro video, these logs are trying to be in the style of the Tom Francis videos where he just kind of sets an iPhone or something down and records and doesn't edit anything and doesn't kind of plan. It's just talking, which I always really liked, and I think is a fun way to just have accountability without a formal like development video. So the game 18 is, or the thing, it kind of falls into more of this category of a media experience thing. It's really, really small, like tiny, which I'll talk about in a sec. But basically, it's based on this breathing exercise called 7-11, where you breathe in for 7 counts and you exhale for 11 counts, which I think does to your, it's like lowering the oxygen level, raising the oxygen level in your bloodstream or something. Basically, you're exhaling more than you're inhaling, so your heart rate slows down, and it's pretty sick for de-stressing and stuff. It's one of the very first like breath control exercises that I ever heard of, and it's just super simple. Like that's the whole thing. You just breathe in for 7 counts, exhale for 11 counts. So I kind of thought it'd be fun to base a little timing mechanic on that, where you are, spoiler alert, if you want to figure out how it works on your own, you're holding down the space bar for 7 counts, this stuff is happening, and then when you release the space bar, it takes 11 counts for it to kind of stop, like the visual and audio feedback. So I wanted to also explore this idea of like breathing, like clips of actual breath. So I did all the breath clips and all the music stuff too, but that's something in video games. I feel like breath is always used when you're holding down like the sprint button in like every FPS ever, and your guys like breathing really heavily, and that always gave me such a visceral reaction to hear this like heavy breathing in my in stereo in your headphones, and it kind of like made me breathe faster, I think, and I think that's the intended purpose. So I was thinking, what if you could sort of co-opt that and bring it into the space of a breathing exercise and something that's really meant to be calming, or kind of you're involuntarily exhaling more than you inhale, even if it's not exactly in time with anything, but it sort of sets you up to be in this subconscious headspace of like slowing down your basic like processing of your body functions or whatever. So yeah, and I scoped it really small. So this is one of the interesting things. It's only week 2, and I'm already like having these big thoughts about scope. I scoped it maybe too small, which I thought was impossible for Game of Week, but maybe my knowledge of small scope made it too small, which ended up being like that for a couple of reasons. Like, I started out with a totally different idea on Monday and spent half the day doing that, and then spent some other time at the end of the day saying, nope, I'm scrapping that, and I'm starting this other 7-Eleven idea, and I also didn't have any time to work Tuesday, and I'm doing this alongside my personal or my professional music practice for some stuff and other like personal development things that I have to do this summer. So I know that I have not that much time, maybe less time than a standard game a week exercise. But also I finished yesterday pretty much. Today's Friday. I finished on Thursday, which felt weird. Like, I was like, what do I do from here? Because this idea is so small scoped. It's just this. So maybe forcing myself to make a more mechanic-y game what would be helpful with that. So maybe I'll try to do that next week, although I already have an idea for next week that I did like a 30-40 minute prototype on that's not very gamey, so maybe I'll just do that. But maybe, weirdly enough, I need to up the scope, which is like so odd to say, but I'm also kind of happy with how this turned out. I think it's sort of interesting, and I also stumbled upon, this is just a sidebar, but I stumbled upon Reaper workflows, which is Reaper's audio software that I was at Game Developers Conference this year, and no one would shut up about Reaper. Like, I had heard about Reaper, I knew about Reaper, I never really thought about using it, and everyone was constantly talking about Reaper and how incredible it is and how the workflow is so great. So finally, I like opened up Reaper, and just my jaw like absolutely dropped at how what I used to have to do by hand, like cutting each individual clip almost like you would do with like tape, just like slicing and like manually finding everything. For some jobs, I could do what took me 20 minutes of hand work with like 3 shortcuts immediately, and that was really awesome. So regardless of anything else, finding those workflows this week is just going to be immensely helpful in my personal and professional practice. Okay, it's 5:40. Geez, I think I really understand, you know, in Tom's videos, it would always be like, oh man, I gotta put a timer on, or like, I just went over it for 10 minutes. I can see how easy that is to do, because, I mean, even just with like 1 week worth of thoughts, you have them all these kind of cascading ideas coming out, so it can take longer. But also, like I said in the intro video, I'm trying to make this as not a piece of content as much as possible, like as non-content friendly in a weird way, so that these are really just for my own personal development, and the usefulness of putting it on the internet is just that there's like a little bit of accountability there for me, and for putting them out, and for talking every week. So, alright, I'll see you next week. Myself. Bye.